Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Politics. I'm here with Mike Fasig. You are another water protector that, based on video, is being railroaded through the North Dakota injustice system. You, on October 27th, the North Camp, a little bit north of Osheti-Socoin, was raided. It was a chaotic day. I just want to hear from you, for viewers who aren't familiar with the story. Tell us what happened from the beginning, how you came to be on that road, and what you're being charged with.
I have 2 felony charges in Morton County. One is criminal mischief, and the other one is reckless endangerment. And as far as being on the road, I was part of the water protectors that were defending the earth and defending our waters and defending our rights and defending the Constitution, to be honest with you. As far as I guess I'm not sure where to start from on that one. I was near the 1806-134 area. We were assisting people that were trying to evacuate from the North Camp area. And on the radio, well, we got called that there was an armed man. He was masked, he's armed, and he's racing towards our camp. I guess you would have to know what the history is in the past few months of the things that we've had to deal with in this area up here with DAPL mercenaries. There's been several times they've gone into the camp. There's been several times we've been able to stop them from going into the camp. So this actually was not the first time.
And when they've gotten into the camp, they've kind of tried to dress as water protectors and blend in.
Yeah, and they've done it very well. I mean, they've done it, and they've actually gotten away with it and sabotaged a lot of things. Sometimes they've done it, and we were able to catch them. But they've very dangerously sabotaged stuff. They've one time I remember was one of the kitchens. They undid the hoses that go to the propane tanks and caused a fire in there that we were able to put out quick enough, but I mean, the whole kitchen could have gone up. I know over at the Dome, the solar rig was attacked, and all the wiring was cut in that. And there's people's vehicles that have been tampered with. There's a lot of stuff that's happened in there where we weren't always able to catch them all the time.
So on October 27th, this guy was speeding on the road. You saw him, and what'd you do next?
Well, we waited for him. Actually, it took a while before he got to us. But when we were radioed that, we were kind of confused. But I pulled my vehicle onto the road, and we blocked the road along with another vehicle that he's also being charged. And we were blocking the road in a strategic manner where we're each facing the opposite direction of each other. There was a lot of people that were already there off the side of the road, so that we already had a large amount of people and a large amount of vehicles that were off on the side of the road and even down into the ditch where people had already gathered there. And sat there and waited a couple minutes to see if he was actually coming down, and we saw him flying down the road, and I looked up, and as soon as I saw him come around the bend where I knew that he would see us, that we had that area blocked, I really thought that he would see that, slow down, come to a stop, even if he sat and thought about it for a second, turn around, and then go back to where he came, because he had more than a quarter-mile distance to do that at any time, where there was nothing in between us and him. So he had plenty of time, plenty of room to do that at any time. So I was really shocked when he just kept coming closer and closer and closer. And then when he finally came all the way up to us, I was stunned when I saw him. He gunned the truck, went off-road, and then made a desperate attempt to get around everybody. At that point in time, you know it's urgent, because I mean that's a very, very aggressive move to try to get closer and closer to us. The other car took off after him. I don't know if he even, he's probably just as confused as the rest of us, seeing something that desperate happening right in front of us. So he went to, and it looked like he was trying to make attempts to try to stop the vehicle. I had to, because I was facing towards him, I had to turn around and follow him. And then follow him through the ditch and then come out. And the whole time I'm just watching, trying to figure out what's going on. What is this guy doing? And I get up on the road, because he's just getting closer and closer to the bridge. Right on the other side of that bridge, which is the very bridge that you're on today, is the camp. So that when you're at that bridge, you are within a very short walking distance from the camp. I saw him starting to try to make an attempt to come out of the ditch, and the only thing that he was pointing towards or headed for was that bridge. So it was very clear that he's trying to make that bridge. My first thought was that by getting onto the road while he's in the ditch, that I would be able to pick up enough speed where I would be able to pass him, and then use my truck to block that bridge before he got to it, which would force him to have to turn around and go back. Before I had a chance to even do that, though, there was two men standing in the road, and when I looked ahead, there was one man. From my viewpoint, we were going so fast, it looked like he was coming towards us very quickly. And when I looked down and saw Kyle Thompson's truck, he was still trying to come up out of the ditch, and he was headed completely for that man. And have time to think about anything. I just saw him heading towards that man, and then I used my truck to, at that point in time, stop Kyle Thompson from hitting that man on the road. And when I stopped him, because he was making such aggressive moves trying to get closer and closer to our camp. And you have to understand about our camp. Our camp at that time was our community. It wasn't just a campground. It was truly our community. In the summertime, and we had a full-fledged school going. Our NEPs, which is our churches, are there. Our kitchens are there. Our tents we're living in is there, and it was a very large community. At that moment in time, on the 27th, the majority of the men were up dealing with the DAPL mercenaries in Morton County. That leaves the camp vulnerable at that point in time, because the only people that you have left in the camp is going to be mainly women, children, and elders. And that's how our camps have always been traditionally. The women and the children and the elders, usually would stay back. That makes it even more important, that your responsibility is to protect that camp from any threat, coming to it. And as far as trying to identify him as a threat, he's masked. He's driving a truck with his license plates removed. He's got an assault rifle.
Could you see the assault rifle, like as you were behind him? Could you see his gun?
I didn't see it when I was behind him, but I saw it when I came up to him. And as soon as I had connected with his vehicle, that's when I saw it. At that time, I kind of time slowed down for me at that time. And the whole time that he was fighting, trying to get back up onto the road, and I kept fighting his truck to keep his truck from getting back up to the road and making that bridge. For me, it felt like forever. I mean, the time just really slowed down, and I remember positioning myself in my truck so that what I was waiting for that whole time, I really felt that he was going to open fire, and that those rounds would go right through the glass and strike me. And at that time, the only thing I was trying to do was position my body in a point to where if I got struck, that my body would still be in a position to make the truck still keep pushing them away from the road and from the people. And so I'm bracing my body in a manner so that would happen, and then I'm still fighting with him to keep him from making that bridge. I was fortunate enough to be able to force him, completely down and get his truck into a position where he wasn't able to get out.
But just to emphasize, obviously you were trying to protect the camp, but the video clearly shows that you probably saved somebody's life, because there was I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but you could see in the video, he's gunning his car, he's about to swerve back onto the bridge and literally run over someone, and that's when you stopped him. If you didn't stop him, he was going to run over that car, that person. You're being charged with reckless endangerment. Most people would say if somebody's speeding, swerving off a road, trying to get back onto a road, brandishing an AR-15, that would be the person who's charged with reckless endangerment.
In any other well, actually any other country too, but I mean in any other city in our own country, if you have a masked man driving a pickup with no license plates, with an assault rifle, and he's going off road doing all kinds of crazy stuff trying to get to your community, it's in the city that I grew up in, that would be a cause of alarm. Everybody would be very concerned about that. When the investigator first called me to ask me questions, quite honestly, I thought that he was calling me to investigate Kyle Thompson, and I was sitting here, wondering why did it take so long. But no, that's fine. Maybe they're just really slow. And then as I spoke to him, I'm trying to speak to him in a manner so that I can get things from him to understand what is his purpose of calling me. Mm-hmm. And it became very quick and very evident that he's not trying to investigate Kyle Thompson. He's trying to put charges on me and everybody else. Mm-hmm. And then one statement that investigator made to me that just stunned me. I didn't even know how to respond to it. But his statement to me was, well, what right do you have putting up a roadblock on a public road? This is a public road that they've already blocked, and we have American citizens being assaulted by them at that point. And again, in any community, if you got an armed, masked man driving a pickup truck with no license plates coming towards your schools and your communities, I think it's your responsibility to put a roadblock up, to do anything that you can to stop that. And I think in every city, that's what people would do. His second comment to me was, well, doesn't Kyle Thompson have the right to drive down a public road?
Not speed, brandishing an AR-15.
With no license plates, masked, and going through the ditch and doing everything that you can to try to make your way to, someone else's community.
And did they have the highway video surveillance, or did they have access to the video?
I would imagine so, because the video is from the North Dakota Highway Patrol. It's their own video. So I don't see how they could say that the video's doctored, that it's altered, that they don't have access to it. Obviously it was the BCI. So I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty certain that they have very, very easy access to other law enforcement's videos, especially when they were focusing on that event during that time.
Reckless endangerment. Any other charges?
Criminal mischief, which I'm not sure, I think they took one of those wheels and spun it to see where it stops at, and they just kind of picked one.
How many years are you facing?
10. 10, I think.
And have you had a court date yet?
I've had my court date has been moved twice. So my next court date is February 14th. I think it's still 50-50 if they're going to move that one there. Right now, currently, they're going back and trying to find more ways to charge more people. So I'm sure, they're probably going to go back and try to find, I don't know, maybe not using my turn signal when I rammed into them or something. I don't know. They'll probably find something and then make it a felony. So I'm sure they're looking for more ways to try to charge me, as long as what they're doing with everybody else.
And
I'm sorry.
do you think essentially, obviously they're trying to railroad you as well as other water protectors. Basically, do you think this is a way for them to try to intimidate people from coming back here, trying to basically stoke the fear of God? You know, if you come back here, you're going to go to jail. I mean, I got pulled over today for going around somebody. Luckily, nothing happened, but I've never gotten pulled over for driving around a slow driver in front of me.
I don't know if it's so much of a warning. I think they're just so used to getting away with however they want to do things up here, and I really do think that there's a lot of hatred and a lot of racism going on, and so it doesn't really matter who you are. If you stand on this side of anything, then they look at you the same way as they look at the rest of us. And that's what I think. I know that I've been here for several months, and I've seen many things up here that just shocked me as far as the actions of Morton County, and I've seen these DAPL mercenaries do extremely illegal actions, and Morton County just completely turned their heads to it. Completely. I mean, I'm not even talking about this one here. This is just a small one.
What do you expect when the CEO of the oil company is offering to pay their overtime? They're not even hiding the corruption.
I think that I want to go home because I'm tired of how this state works, but I can't even go home because I have to deal with felony charges up here. I think I'm scared. I'm scared to see the rest of this country follow suit with North Dakota and Morton County. You know, if that happens, then the whole country's in trouble. You know, I know you've all heard all the water is life speeches and this and that, but I truly am afraid for my children and my grandchildren's futures. You know, what is it really going to look like? I really am. Even with this case here, you know, I know they're still trying to they're trying to claim that one of the water protectors fired a flare gun at Kyle Thompson. You know, which is preposterous. They have their own videos, but they're not even willing to look at their own videos on that stuff. You know, when that had happened, I had gotten out of my truck and walked up to Kyle Thompson, and I was within feet of him while he's standing there holding his AR-15. You know, while I'm looking at him, I see this extra long clip that had an open slot down the middle, and you can see the color of the bullets lined up in it. You know, he's masked, sunglasses. He's got, I don't know, his grandmother's leggings or something over his arms, hiding his tattoos. At that time, you know, I've had experience dealing with these DAPL mercenaries. At that point in time, I knew to then go around to the other side of the truck because I was concerned that there'd be another mercenary hiding inside the truck. So instead of engaging him or focusing on him, I moved around, went to the other side of the truck, looked inside the truck, and when I saw that there wasn't a second mercenary with him, that's honestly what made me even more afraid, because that was never how they operated. You know, so for there to be one and one only, that meant something really bad. That was really bad was coming towards us. What it was, I'm not sure. I could come up with 3 different highly possibilities of what he was going to do, but I knew that we were in trouble when there wasn't a second one in there. He was on his own. You know, so at that point in time, I got back in my truck. When I saw that there was enough water protectors there to keep him as best as what they could for making it to the camp, which holding the gun at that time, I didn't think that the water protectors would really be able to hold him for very long. I really believed that he was going to make a dash through the water and then be on the north side of our camp, and I thought that was going to happen within minutes. You know, I was surprised to find out that our water protectors were able to hold him off in the water. That's not what I thought was going to happen at that time. So I immediately left, went flying back into the camp, and started yelling for everybody, women, children, anybody on the north side of the camp to move to the south side of the camp. And I was trying to get people prepared for him to come invading into the north side of the camp. That's what I really thought. There was a man with a flare gun, but the flare gun was always pointed up, and that flare gun was supposed to go off. There were supposed to be 3 flares. The first flare was so that we could see where exactly he is from the north side of the camp once we're in the north side of camp. So the flare is going to go up. We're going to be able to tell exactly how much of a distance we have from our side of the camp. Second flare is going to be if he makes a change of direction. And then third flare is he's at the camp. There was never a second and third. There was only the first one, which gave the position of where he was at. Morton County is trying to claim, well, we could hear a flare gun going off, so now let's try to charge somebody with shooting at Kyle Thompson. It's ridiculous. And nothing that this sheriff or this county has been claiming is anywhere near the facts. And all you need to do is look at the videos. Look at the pictures, look at the videos. That's all you need to do. I was drained financially before all this. I gave up my business. I gave up. I came up here, I had a savings, I had my own business. I came up here early September. Gave everything that I had, and I'm very happy to have done that. Gave everything I had to the people and to help and to contribute. And as time has gone by, though, if it wasn't for these DAPL mercenaries, my truck would be fine. Because I've came up here. I'm a tow truck driver. That's what I came up here for. I've towed a lot of cars. I've pulled people out of ditches. I've helped people change tires and jump start their cars. And I've used my truck to haul supplies. In doing all those things, nothing's ever happened to my truck. When it comes to protecting the outer perimeter of the camp from these DAPL mercenaries, every single damage, every single dent to my truck is from that. My truck was my livelihood. My truck was my business. My truck is what I worked many years to build and have for myself. And without that truck, I don't have a job. I don't have an income. I don't have anything without that truck. So, yeah, I gave up. I gave up everything I had. I did that. A lot of people up here did that. Almost everybody up here did that.